Welcome to the Reed Report. Thank you guys for taking this time to hear me out on another Panthers update training camp. Also got the Hall of Fame game between the Raiders and Jags that's about to pop off. They got a bit of a rain delay going on right now, so we may probably tomorrow talk a little bit about that. We'll see how it goes and see the news coming out of that and what all happens with that situation. But today we're talking about another article from ESPN and the Carolina Panthers beat writer David Newton. Yes, I checked, I looked it up, I researched it, not related to Cam Newton. Not related to Cam Newton. I know I always say that, but I just gotta always remind y'all that David Newton is not related to Cam Newton. Today's article is titled Baker Mayfield versus Sam Darnold. Is Carolina Panthers starting job Baker Mayfield's to lose, or Mayfield's to lose? When I was reading this article, it really highlighted just how much I believe everyone in Carolina around are favoring Baker as being QB1 for the team, and I believe it showed in the coach's quotes as well. And we'll get into that as we read the article. Of course, like the past couple of days, we will read through this and, give an opinion and a take on what we're reading through, what we're looking at. So open your ears and prepare to hear me out. It starts off by saying wide receiver Rashard Higgins held tightly his 11-month-old son in the back of a golf cart while discussing the open competition between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold for the Carolina Panthers starting quarterback job. He joked that young Seven got his name with a tweak to the spelling because 7 follows 6. The uniform number of Mayfield, his teammate and friend in Cleveland the past 4 years. So I was looking up Higgins, and apparently under Mayfield, under Baker, Higgins had some okay numbers. He was not a 1 out in Cleveland. He was not a 2. I don't even think he was a 3rd or maybe 4th option out there. In 2020, when they made the playoffs, he played in 13 games, caught 37 balls for 599 yards and 4 touchdowns. Had similar numbers in 2018, which was Baker Mayfield's rookie year. He caught 39 balls for 572 yards and again 4 touchdowns. So in other words, if anyone has reason to pull for Mayfield, it's Higgins, because just like Robbie knew Sam Darnold from New York, Higgins knows Baker from Cleveland. But when asked who he believes will start in Week 1 against the Cleveland Browns, the player nicknamed Hollywood didn't offer any clarity. He said, and I quote, "Whoever makes that decision is going to be a good one, so we'll see," he said with a smile. Baker guy. That's the company line. Whether it's Mayfield, acquired last month in a trade with the Browns, or Darnold, acquired last year in a trade with the New York Jets, the Panthers believe the competition between the number 1 and number 3 overall picks of the 2018 draft would make them better. And it definitely will, because, of course, both want to be the starter. You just know that. And so it keeps them alert on what it is they need to correct and be more cautious and careful with the football. And they're going to try to be the best that they can be in order to win this job. And we'll see who's best is best. Who's best is best to be one. Whether you believe the competition is truly open or this is Mayfield's job to lose, as many around the league believe, Doesn't matter, particularly to third-year coach Matt Rule, whose future might depend on the outcome. And of course, his future is going to depend on this outcome and how it plays out. Dude has had consecutive 5-win seasons, and he's getting paid a lot of money. I believe he's on a $60 million contract. So Matt Rule knows what's at stake here. He knows what's at stake, and that's his job. He states almost daily that this isn't a one-day competition and it likely will take time to decide. His mind is made up. You think? I think his mind is made up. He says, I've been on record with what I think, said Rule, who opened training camp saying performance will decide the outcome, of course. I've just got to worry about the guys and hopefully they feel good about the way we're doing it. They seem to, and so far, neither has performed well enough to distance himself from the other. And that's not a quote from Matt Rule. That's just, part of the story from Newton, not Cam. And this is back to the quote. There's another quote here. Everything is extremely transparent, Mayfield said. So Baker, they're telling us together how they're handling it. It's not being said to one person and Sam's hearing other things. It's right there in front of us, clear and concise. In reality, probably like, all right, guys, that'll do it for this meeting. Hey, Baker. Stay back for a second. Real quick. Sam, go ahead and throw some passes with the second team. Putting emphasis on it. Go ahead and throw some passes for a little bit. Telling Baker, hey, you got the job, right? Baker like, wait, what? I got the job. You're like, shh, keep it down. You got the job, but just keep it on hush for now. All right. Hey, Sam is just like probably trying to listen by the door or something. I hope that's not the case, but that's probably how it went down. But anyway, the preseason competition plan is the title of this next section. The routine if you followed the first week of camp. Darnold works with the first team one day while Mayfield works with the second team the next day. They flip-flop. The next day, split time with the starters. It's about a 50-50. It's about as 50-50 as you can get. As Rule explained to his quarterbacks, we can't necessarily always be fair, but we have to be just. Fans already have a favorite. Before the first practice, as Mayfield and Darnold walk together to the Wofford College fields, the chants overwhelming were in favor of Mayfield, in Mayfield's favor. I bet that walk down had to be awkward just for both of them. He's probably just walking down and you hear all these Baker chants and Baker is trying to hide the little smile on his face as he walked with his head, probably looking at his phone, probably not allowed to have a phone, but just like, damn, I got this. They love me. And Sam is just like, son of a... But Sam can't say, after all I've done for y'all, he can't say those things. So he just have to take it. Honestly, he just have to take it. You knew the popular vote would go to Baker, but he still have to go win the job. It goes on to say, since then, they've arrived separately, but Mayfield still gets more chants and louder. So they decided to walk down separately. I believe somebody probably advised them to do that because, again, that's awkward. You're walking right next to the guy, and he's walking next to you, and the chants are overwhelming in your favor, and you can't even really joke about it because you don't know how the other person's going to take it. In this case, Sam Darnold. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. For now, neither seems concerned. Each is focused on getting a better grasp of the offensive coordinator. Ben McAdoo's system and fixing flaws that have them competing for a job instead of owning one. Rule said he likes what he has seen, particularly from Baker Mayfield after only 2 weeks in the system. So it sounds like Baker is picking it up pretty fast in this Carolina system. After all, he was in Cleveland, where he had a new offensive coordinator and a new coach every year, seems like. So he's just used to having to make adjustments and, learn something new and get familiar with it really quick. That's what he's just been accustomed to his first 4 years in the league. He says, and I quote, "We test guys every day," he said. "His tests come back in the hundreds. He's a pro's pro." And then this next section goes on to say, the missing link to becoming a contender. The last time the Panthers had this kind of audition was in 2003, when longtime backup Jake Delhomme, aka Jake the GOAT, Jake Delhomme, that's my guy, I like Jake Delhomme. Jake Delhomme was brought in to compete with veteran Rodney Peete. Peete started the opener, but Delhomme took over in the second half and led the team to the Super Bowl. We all remember that Super Bowl 30, what was that? 37? Was it 38? That was Super Bowl 38, I believe, when they lost to the Patriots. New Panthers guard Austin Corbett understands what it means to solidify the quarterback position, having won a Super Bowl last season with the Los Angeles Rams after they traded for Matthew Stafford. He also knows the potential of Baker Mayfield since he played with the quarterback in Cleveland his first season and a half as a pro. Corbett says whoever emerges between Mayfield and Darnold has the potential to make Carolina a contender. It just sounds like all signs are pointing towards Baker winning this job. That's what it feels like. He says their level of competition is going to push each other to the next level of performance, he said. While not playing favorites, Corbett said the energy Mayfield brings is truly unmatched. While not playing favorites, Corbett knows this guy. And of course, Baker is going to bring some, not as quite as Cam, but enough in terms of the fun they're going to have. He's not going to be what Cam Newton and the guys were, but he's going to try to implement some of that. He says, and I quote, "A true love of competition that he pours out into everything," he said. "He beats himself up over minor mistakes." And that's one of those things when I read that. That's when you go into like a job interview and the employer asks you, what is your biggest weakness? You just simply respond by saying that you're too hard on yourself. When you don't get something done, it's hard for you to let it go, and you beat yourself up thinking about doing it better the next time. That's what that sounded like to me. Darnold, Corbett said, is more laid back. He seldom seems upset. So like Jay Cutler. Like you just never know with him, right? But they've been gelling together so far, helping each other out and getting along just fine, he said. They just both want this team to be the most successful it can be. Again, still important that Darnold plays well. It's still important that he plays well because you still want a quality QB too. And I think that's what Sam is. So it's still important that he has the confidence ready to come up whenever, if he needs to. I think this last section right here, this is the last section titled Red Zone Success, the Key to Starting. Winning is what Rule wants more than anything after going 5-11 and 5-12 his first two seasons. Inconsistent quarterback play 2020 with Teddy Bridgewater and last season with Darnold and Cam Newton is a big reason he hasn't won, because defense has been holding up their end. The defense has been elite. Not so much in 2020, but in 2021, they were a really good defense. And we talked about the defense yesterday, so please refer to that video. Much of that consistency has been in the red zone, as only 42% of the Panthers' red zone plays have been passes in the two seasons under Rule, which ranks 31st in the NFL. I wonder who's 32nd. Mayfield seemed to create the first separation in the battle on Monday when he threw 3 touchdown passes to the none for Darnold inside the 20. And they have this red zone success stat right here. from the year 2018 when they were both drafted all the way to last year in 2021. QBR favors Mayfield, who's 16th in the lead at a 68. Sam Darnold dead last at a 37. Completion percentage, again, red zone success, 56% for Baker Mayfield, which is good enough, 18th in the league, and 49% for Sam Darnold, 43rd in the league. Touchdown to interception ratio, 68 touchdowns, 3 picks for Baker. 32 touchdowns, 8 picks for Baker. So they're both pretty good in the red zone in terms of converting. Both pretty good. Mayfield continued to impress Tuesday with his willingness to take shots downfield, something Darnold hasn't done well as a pro. His 27% completion rate on throws at least 20 yards downfield ranks last in the NFL over the past 4 seasons. Mayfield ranks 18th at 42%. Mayfield's 50-yard completion to Robbie Anderson drew applause from teammates and fans. And of course, it's no secret that he's won, like I said earlier, he's won the popular vote. He's won the fans over Baker. But from what I read in this article, it sounds like players and coaches have been are starting to be won over as well. Robbie wasn't a fan of Baker coming in the beginning, I think in April when the rumors were circulating. But if I were there at Panthers training camp and if I could see them, I bet he would give off a different vibe as someone who believes Baker is the right fit for this team. Mayfield led the Browns to an 11-5 record and a playoff win in 2020. Also gives him more credibility. Darnold has gone 6 for 17 the past 2 seasons and is 17-32 as the starter overall. I believe Sam Darnold's most signature win was that one when he was with the Jets against the Cowboys that one year, I think in 2019. But as far as camp, Rule has treated both QBs like they are 0-0, and they are helping each other out in meetings and on the field. Obviously, we both want to be the starting quarterback for this team, Darnold said. That's apparent. But at the end of the day, it's not me or Baker making that decision. That kind of makes it easier for us to root for each other. And that right there is the end of the article, but I think they know. And what would solidify it is when they play their first preseason game against the Washington Commanders next Saturday. That game, I do believe Sam Darnold will start, just because that will mean to me that their minds are made up. Give Sam the start, get a drive or 2 in, and let Baker shine. CMC will probably only play 1 drive in that game, and he's out of there. And the Panthers will definitely be slinging the ball around, I believe. But that has been another update on the Panthers training camp. Thank you all for taking this time to hear me out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, share the video. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you'd like to hear from me, if anything in particular. I really do appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon. Keep pounding. When people see this, they're going to say, well, he really wasn't a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Well, that's because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well. Look, I'm only doing this because it is who I am. That's the way I played the game. That was my mentality. And if you don't want to play that way, then don't play that way. Break.